Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Menace and the Monk. DJ is here with us once again. Of course, DJ, huge Juventus fan, a part of Calcio Charcha as well. DJ, a lot has been happening in Serie A. Actually, हर साल मेरे को लगता है Serie A में बहुत कुछ होते रहता है. It's the most action-packed league, if you ask me, bro. And especially in Juventus these days, unfortunately for the wrong reasons, Juventus are in the news, in the khabar. I was seeing your reel, bhai, and you said this is probably the lowest point for you as a Juventus fan. Can you just describe us why, भाई क्या हो रहा है, क्यों ऐसे तेरे को फील हो रहा है?
Honestly, Manas, what it is really is, yeah, you can't win the league every year. That's clear, right? Like it's not even coming from that expectation. It is there is a very different milieu now in this area than what the dominating Juve used to be. Maybe let's say 5 7 years ago, or the Juve before that at the turn of the century. Um, I think why to me this is defining as a low point is the fact that coaches, yeah, okay, they have a sell by date, they come and go. I'm seeing a very distinct lack of vision within the hierarchy of the club. And I think that to me is something that creates a little bit of nervousness, because what is the direction the club is headed in? And I think, we'll come to it a little later. A lot of people seem to think, yeah, changing the coach is going to solve your problems. It's not. You take Man United as an example. It is not the end solution. The root of the problem actually lies elsewhere. Now, for 2 seasons running, you've sacked your management, you've sacked Juntoli, you've sacked Mota, you've sacked Tudor now, and you have Kamoli running the show. But where is the coherent vision that the club has? What have they created by way of structure? You brought in a Modesto as the moderator within the club, but where is your sporting director? You give us an understanding that the sporting director couldn't come at the start of the transfer market. It would be too, last minute for a sporting director to come. We are now in November. So where is your sporting director? How are you running a market after signing a coach on? I don't know if you know this, but there is also a very frosty relationship between Tudor and Kamoli.
Gee,
What was the
I know
essence of the frosty?
signings. The
Yeah,
signings you were saying
clearly,
he wanted defenders and attackers ले आए.
he wanted a central midfielder and he wanted a defender, and that is clearly where the team's problems lie, frankly. And what he got was a bunch of attackers who, frankly, in my book, are not even good enough to start at Juve, let alone sit on the bench. You know, sorry, sit on the bench, let alone start for Juve. So,
Start.
so yeah, this to me is where, like, the vision is a little lacking. You have to function as a coherent unit. If your coach needs something, why are you signing the coach on for a 1 or 2 year contract if you're not going to give him the players you want? I'll tell you why. Because what Kamoli really wanted was a need gap bridge in the middle to next season, when he would get the international coach that he so wanted. Because Tudor was never a long term solution. It was apparent in the length of his contract. It was apparent in the fact that he wasn't getting the players that he wanted. So if you have that in mind, then your approach has to be different. Now where do you stand? You've sacked Tudor. You're rumored to be getting Spalletti, but Spalletti is not going to come to you only for on a 6 month contract. He's going to want a bare minimum of 2 years or 2 seasons. And at that point in time, you can't fight a Spalletti and say, we're not going to give you the players you're asking for. He comes with a certain amount of credential, enough to command respect from the management. But here's the irony in all of this: Spalletti is also available in the summer. So if he was available, he was not first choice in the first place, because it wouldn't have been Tudor, it would have been Spalletti. you know so that's why,
Yeah.
Kamoli's mind was elsewhere. So where is this, like, where is all of this? Is the stuff that bothers me. Like, where is the club headed in an overarching sense in terms of direction? We've lost, Manas. The thing that bothers me is we've kind of lost our core identity. We've become, like,
वही.
I speak as a Juve fan. Like it used to be one of the most mystical, you know like the Dark Knight of Europe. It was this club with a lot of aura and mystery. Today, if I just open their Instagram, I just see gimmicks. I don't see any. sense of like a serious football club. I see everything other than football. I see challenges. I see players having fun, joking, and what level of players? They're not even, the old Juve would scoff at this level of players. You've lost the
Hmm.
game, and the next day I see on Instagram everyone is all joking and chatting. This would not happen back in the day. You're dead serious. The only it's in a ethos. The only thing that matters is winning.
डीजे वो
You know.
आइडेंटिटी तू जो बोल रहा था ना कि यू लॉस्ट द आइडेंटिटी, मेरे को भी ऐसे देख के लगता है कि यूवेंटस की आइडेंटिटी हैज बीन लॉस्ट, बट क्या तू पिन पॉइंट कर सकता है एक डिसीजन, एक सीजन, एक सैकिंग, एक साइनिंग, एक प्लेयर बीइंग लेट गो, कि या एक इंसिडेंट कि जहां तू बोलेगा यू नो व्हाट मानस, ये जब हुआ ना, आई फेल्ट दैट वाज द बिगिनिंग ऑफ द करंट सिचुएशन और द सो कॉल्ड डिमाइस या फिर शॉर्ट टर्म डिमाइस?
मानस, it's like a symptom ना, जब आपको कुछ डिजीज होती है, it's not something you develop overnight. It comes into your body and eats away over years before it actually shows on the surface. And I think for Juve it is so synonymous with what happened when we first let go of Allegri. Then we brought in Sari because we wanted to change the way we play, etc., etc. Then we brought in Pirlo. We sacked Sari after he won. Then we brought in Pirlo. We sacked him because he didn't win the Scudetto, without seeing the reality of the situation. And then we brought Allegri back. So the confusion actually started there in the sense of what is my identity as a club and what do I truly want. We fell out. There was an infight between Agnelli and Marotta over the signing of Ronaldo. You know,
Hmm.
Ronaldo
Hmm.
also, when he came in, you want the cherry on top of the cake, but like, who is the maturity behind it? You can't have Pjanic and Khedira and then say, I'm adding Ronaldo and we're going to win the Champions League. Nahi hoga. You can't have Matuidi. You need more energy and you need more vision. You need a Modric behind him. You need a Pirlo behind him. Then you're going to win.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I feel like that churn started at that point in time. A lot of our final sense, in the 9-year run, a lot of the last maybe 3-4 years, we won the Scudetto, but it was actually a disguise, right? It was disguising actually the the beginning of what was happening in terms of the loss of identity. So Allegri comes back because everyone assumes the coach can fix everything, and Allegri comes back to a team that is shambolic, that has begun to lose its identity. Then he brings in basically a lot of the Primavera next gen players, tries to give them a chance. They do the running. Some of them actually grow a lot faster than intended. But that also was, necessity is the mother of invention, because Allegri was struggling so badly to get results that what he did at the fag end of that was just throw in young players just to show that I'm giving youth a chance. And it just so turned out that the youth turned out to be very helpful you know. But what
Hmm.
happened
Hmm.
after that was Giuntoli comes in. Allegri and Giuntoli have a frosty relationship because the way Allegri plays football is too defensive, too old school. We need to break out and create a new identity. He brings in Mota. Allegri and Giuntoli didn't speak in the last 6 months of Allegri's tenure. And now what does Giuntoli have to do? Because of the fact that you had Ronaldo, COVID hit, the club's books went for a toss. And the only way you could salvage that is sell those young players, because your maximum plus valenza comes from there. Guys
Hmm.
that you have blooded who are good enough to play for the club because they're never going to want to play anywhere else. Those are the players you're selling.
Hmm.
Look at it, yeah. Manas, we've sold Hoyson, we've sold Fagioli, we've sold Sule. These are guys, if you give them a 4 or 5 year cycle, you will kind of create an identity that is sustainable. वो किधर है वो विजन ही नहीं है. Now we are in
अभी
survival
अभी
mode. On one
तेरे
on
को
one hand
डर लग,
you're struggling with FFP. On one hand you're struggling with personnel.
ओवरऑल डर लग रहा है क्या ब्रो, की बिकॉज आप दूसरे दूसरे क्लब्स को देख रहे हो, दूसरे लीग को देख रहे हो, मतलब आई एम आस्किंग यू दिस विद द ग्रेटेस्ट ऑफ रिस्पेक्ट, टीजे, आई हैव अ लॉट ऑफ रिस्पेक्ट फॉर एवरी क्लब इन सेरिया, स्पेशली यूवेंटस एंड एसी मिलान, ऐसा डर लग रहा है
True.
क्या, मतलब आप सेलिंग क्लब बन गए हो फॉर द अदर क्लब्स इन यूरोप, एंड मतलब कि क्या हो रहा है ना कि ब्रो, लाइक प्रीमियर लीग इन इटसेल्फ इज द सुपर लीग नाउ, ओके, like the amount of money that Liverpool spent, and I will defend it because we have been very miser over the years, and after a long, so it was a one-off. But Like we signed a player for 140 million. I don't think like Juventus can imagine doing that right now. And we signed another player for 100 million. You see, like Sunderland signing 11 odd players. They've just got promoted. Okay, they've spent 200 million. So आप ये सब देख रहे हो, फिर आप अपने प्रॉब्लम्स देख रहे हो, आपको ऐसे डर लग रहा है कि वो आप एक you will just become a club which was famous at one point of time. Identity भी जा रही है, and you don't know what the future is, bro.
Well, to be very honest, there's two parts to this question you asked me. The first part is the simpler part, so I'll address that first. Uh, Long and short of it, I'm not scared because see, there's two parts to this. One is where Juve is right now, but two is also the overall state of the league. So it's not going to take much for Juve to come back and create that sense of essence that they've held in the past. Okay, maybe they may not have a 10-year run ever again in
Yeah,
their history, but they will win the Scudetto within the
of
next three, four,
course.
5 years. It's
Yeah,
inevitable because of the fact
yeah,
that you have a management that owns the club for over 100 years. Somewhere in their DNA, they will find that winning formula again, and also somewhere in their DNA, they are richer than everybody else
yeah.
inherently. तो वो तो होगा. That is inevitable. To your second point about Juve being a selling club, so there is a little pretext here, right? Like they are not just a selling club right now. They have always been a selling club because they're a very pragmatic club. Juve has
Hmm.
always run on sustenance. They have never depended on the ownership to give them money. They've always run.
So true.
You remember when you remember when we
Very
sold
relatable.
Zidane, right?
Very relatable. Very
Yeah,
relatable
there
as
you
a
know.
Liverpool fan.
See,
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
only thing as a Liverpool fan where you would feel that while the clubs are so similar in their history and structure, why Liverpool struggled for so long is because the league was very strong.
yeah.
It took them a
True,
little bit to come
true.
back. But if the
Got
league
it.
was what it was, they would have come back like this. It's in their
Yeah,
DNA,
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
So in the
yeah,
same way, like Juve will it's inevitable they'll be back. And the sense of selling is what I'm
जी,
coming to. Right now, they're selling only their youngsters. They are not going to be in a they're very look, we're still aware of who we are, right? Abhi Yildiz ke liye koi aayega, we are never going to be forced to sell him. We are going
hmm,
to choose to sell him because we will get a better opportunity to sign three. When we sold Zidane, if you remember, we signed
yeah.
we signed Nedved, Thuram, and Buffon.
Not bad, right?
There you go, right? It's intelligent business. So that Juve
Yeah,
is very aware of how to function. They will never
yeah,
sell a Yildiz in desperation.
yeah.
you know so that I think is the answer to your question. That fear is not there. It's just that I feel bad यार कि ये identity crisis जो है so
Hmm,
self inflicted, right? We start
hmm,
by sacking Allegri, then we sack Sari. It's so entitled. Then you sack Pirlo, then you bring Allegri back, then you sack Allegri again. That it
hmm.
like what do you want for yourself as a club? What are your objectives? Where is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
overarching vision? Yeah, Kamoli
जी.
has come in, Manas. We chatted about this in the off season. We share him as a guy, in our respective
Who's worked
clubs.
that?
But my
Yeah.
my point is, what is the vision? You've come in, you've hired Tudor, you've continued with him, and then you've not given him players that he wanted. You're setting yourself up for failure.
जी,
क्या है वो
जी.
सोच? Like, what is the thinking?
Hmm,
And to give you an example, right? Prime example. Alberto Costa. I don't know if you saw him play at Juve. He's
hmm,
killing it at Porto. 21-year-old
hmm,
old fine Giuntoli bought him for 12 million.
hmm,
Okay. Camoli sold him to Porto for 14 or 15 million and bought João Mario from Porto for 15 million. Same position, 2 or 3 million profit for a player with a higher ceiling. What sense did that deal make? And Tudor wanted him. So why sell him?
hmm.
I mean, what is the sense of it? Like, where is the overarching cohesion thought process? I've hired this coach. I have to give him the players he wants. They fell out about it. Tudor didn't play Mario at all. I mean, he's played him in passing as a 5-7 minute sub. That's really it.
Hmm. Yeah, it must be frustrating. Man. It must be so frustrating as a fan. I can totally understand. DJ, but this season अभी तो मतलब I think 8
Early days.
games हुए हैं where you've not won. So which is concerning. Liverpool as well at the same point right now. We've gone four losses in a row in the Premier League. Uh, and we've got very tough fixtures coming up in front of us. We like Man City and Real Madrid are approaching, so we are in a very tricky situation as well. TJ, just last question before we end the video, because you have summed up your emotions and what is happening, what is wrong behind the scenes very clearly. As a football romantic, bhai, Liverpool and Juventus share a lot of history. Unfortunately, Heysel is one of them. But my when I was 14, one of my earliest memories is the likes of Zambrotta, Cameronese, Zlatan playing for. I think even Nedved was playing for Juventus, and we won 2-1 at Anfield and we drew at
Yeah,
Juventus qualified. So
correct.
that is, I think that is the last time we played Juventus, if I am not wrong. Do you
Yes, I
think
think
this
so.
season in the Champions League, in the knockout stage, Liverpool and Juventus will meet? That will be cool, right?
Yeah, Manas, I would love to see a fixture like that, but like you said, it's been too long because somehow we have this a camaraderie, respect, whatever, and it just so turns out that Madrid and Juve are almost intertwined. You know, every one or
Yeah.
2 years they'll end up playing, and
Yeah.
it's been so long that we've played Liverpool. That's really a fixture that I'd love to see. I think the
Yeah.
likes of Juve, Liverpool, Juve, Bayern. Those are the games that that really stir the old school romantic in me. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
Yeah.
matter of time. I know Liverpool are going to be there in the next round. I'm not so sure about Juve as things stand. But if that was the case, then of course, yes, I would be vouching for a game like that. And
I won't be I
Manas,
won't be surprised if Liverpool and Juve, I mean, not in the top eight. So वो जो 9 to 28 वाला या 24 वाला, उसमें I think वो possibility है वो. We might end up playing. That would be cool as well, man, to play Juventus, to go to Turin. I remember when we were talking about the draws, bro. I was like, कि भाई Bayern and Juventus are two teams I want us to play this season. दोनों नहीं है. माँ की आंख वापस Real Madrid आ गया हमारा. Like Real Madrid is meant for
one
us.
reason.
Sorry,
Yeah,
you were saying
correct.
something. You were saying something, TJ.
No, no, I was just saying that for an old school romantic, also it should be an old school romantic fixture. But as things stand, Liverpool are the reference point, yeah, for everyone in Europe, and I think what it'll really be is, in a sense, you do know that Liverpool will be overwhelming favorites in a game and a tie like that. But it'll be a great exposure, I think, to the youth at Juventus at the moment. For those kind of players to understand what it really takes to kind of compete with Europe's elite. And Juve are a little early in that journey of that new identity. So yeah, I think a fixture like this would probably need a couple of years to do true justice. You know, but that said, of course, I mean, any progression in Europe is worth it as long as Juve can give a good account of themselves, and Liverpool are already there, right? Like they are the reference point, so they would start overwhelming favorites in a tie like that.
But मजा आएगा अगर होए यार. मतलब that will be a fixture I really really would look forward to. Although, but reference
Very
point,
true blue
I
old
don't know.
school fixture.
I don't know whether we are the reference point right now as things are this season, because I'm being very honest. We haven't had one game where we've been convincing, not even one, where we have been.
Cyclical है यार मानस, see there is
No, no,
also,
I know.
yeah, you've got
Yeah, I'm not
you
panicking. Like the point is, I'm not more importantly, as a fan, I'm not complaining. I think I am not this point where I am expecting my team to be the best every season. There's no way, bro. You have seen
not
your team in
possible.
10 leagues in a row, 9 leagues in a row. मैंने अपने लाइफ में 2 लीग टाइटल्स देखे. तो मतलब मैं कौन से मुंह से बोलूं कि we deserve to do this, we belong here. But right now, all that I'll say is that we are not the reference point, the way we are playing, and I think it's good to admit that as well. So don't be surprised, bro, if we end up playing like, hand on heart, bro. If we played you guys now, right now, it's two teams with very similar confidence, I would say. It would be a great game because both are kind of shit right now. ऐसे तू बोल सकता है.
It will be the kind of game that will throw one team into some kind of momentum to kind of re-establish their
Yeah,
their
yeah,
their run, in but I think that said, Manas, as a Liverpool fan, I would definitely tell you, um, look, Europe is a very different kettle of fish, and it's no matter what is happening in the league, Liverpool will always be a threat in Europe. So you don't have to look at it. Look, I feel like the Premier League, like you said, right? Just the competition week in and week out is so intense. I think also Liverpool's problems at the moment stem from a little bit of, I feel there is it always is the case. Yeah, there is fatigue when you win. There is fatigue when you go at a certain pace, and you've got some new players who come at high price tags. There is that pressure inherently on them to justify themselves. That
Yeah.
is perhaps not falling. Slots, tactics, as much as he's trying, is not really clicking. It can create a little frustration, but I think you just have to give it a little time to tide over, because these guys in their emotional memory know how to win. So you just, little time and space, and they will find their rhythm again.
And also like we are a club which is very emotional, and unfortunately we are associated with tragedy quite a lot. Or abhi Jota ka jo hua as well, it has to affect the players, and I'm sure it is affecting the players because मतलब दोस्त के साथ होता है, कलीग के साथ होता है, and they are playing a game of football and their friend is not there. So I'm sure it is affecting that. But DJ, thank you so much for your time, man. Really appreciate it. Good luck for the rest of the season, bro. And I really hope, really hope Juventus versus Liverpool happens this season, bhai.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It may be worth knowing. I don't know if I told you, but I was actually in Turin. I did see Juve Milan this season.
I
So
saw
your Tudor's second or
it
third
was a
last
draw,
game in
right?
charge.
It was a draw or
It was a
something.
draw. A very,
Yeah.
very drab game, but worth the atmosphere. So when you're in the stadium, Manas, they are there in full flow. Like the fans still
Yeah,
truly
yeah.
believe in this team, and hopefully, it's just that the right energy reaches the team. And let's see. What rumored to be Spalletti. Let's see how things move going forward.
Thanks for your time, DJ. Good luck for the rest of the season. Bye. मिलते हैं
Any
very soon.
100% Manas. Anytime. Luck to you as
Guys,
well.
Guys, please like the video and subscribe to Calcio Churcha and subscribe to Menace and the Monk as well. We'll see you very soon. Take care, guys. After it's
Fino alla fine, Forza Juve.